But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to flip my camera so that we are looking at this month's tutorial stuff. And so what I used this month was the Label Me Grateful stamp set, which is this great stamp set here. I love that font. I wish my writing looked that nice. And it has the dies that go coordinate with it is this one. So you get a great label, kind of a different shape. And then you get all these, what I call standalone dies, because they can just be used as they are with different cardstocks or different papers or whatnot. But they all have a little bit of texture to them. So you can see like the leaves have the lines to them, and so does the flower, the acorns. Anyway, it just gives you a little bit of, hey Sylvie, it just gives you a little bit of texture. And so that's what I used this month for my tutorial. And I used the Floral Charm paper. So this is some great, I love this paper. I love everything about this paper. The colors, everything. I just want to make sure I have them all out. So these are all different florals. So that's probably why I like it so much, because I love florals. But then on the back side, you get all these different textures, and I love how rich this is. That's just such a rich color palette. And Blackberry Bliss is one of my favorite colors. So that's why I love this one. So this is the Floral Charm Designer Series paper. And just for your information, that actual paper is on sale this month. Stampin' Up! Put a whole bunch of in-color products on sale, and that was one of them. So the first card, I'm gonna pull this apart. This is the first card that we're going to make tonight. And as you can see, I used the stamp set for the sentiments, but then I used Designer Series paper for the flowers. And I cut a lot of stuff this afternoon because I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me cut. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this one. This is Peacock, pretty peacock paper, which is gorgeous. I'll put that right over there for now. So there's my base. Then I have this piece of pretty peacock paper that comes in this paper kit that I used as a base, and I'm just going to actually attach that on there. But I wanted to show you this side because that's how I cut my flowers. So I used the flower die, and I just lined it up on some of the pieces of scraps that I had and cut out the flowers so that they would have the same kind of colors in them. One of the things that I noticed today when I was cutting all these pieces is I was using up all kinds of little scraps, which was nice. It's always nice. I save all those Designer Series papers. This was a good way to use up the scraps. All right, so I'm going to go ahead with this one, and I'm adding in some of this open weave trim. This is, I don't know, yeah, you can see it. It's really delicate. It's really pretty. This is one of the items that showed up this week on the clearance rack, which is no longer called a clearance rack. Now it's called the last chance list. So if you are interested in products, some of those products are on sale at a pretty good discount. But if they're on the last chance list, that just means that once they're gone, and they're not coming back. So you can see I put adhesive on there, and then I just added my that open weave ribbon. But I'm going to cover that up so it doesn't matter. That's not going to show. Then I'm going to take my label, which I did already cut out, and a stamp. I don't normally put the labels on my stamps, and the reason is because I use them. Usually when I get them, I want to use them, and I don't want to putz around getting a label on them. However, because this one is a cling stamp, I'm going to go ahead and put a little piece of scratch paper here, because I want to be able to stamp this on my scratch paper and then see how I need to adjust. So for this particular stamp, I'm just going to bring this side down a little bit, and then I'll get, maybe I went a little too far, but then you get a better, so I practiced using this as my line up, that line along that paper edge there. And then when I stamp this on here, perfect. It gets straight. So that's kind of how I line up my cling stamps the photopolymer is great because you can actually see through it. And so you know exactly where you're stamping. The other thing I wanted to mention is if you're watching me on YouTube, you can go ahead and place any questions you have in the comments and I can see them and answer them. If you're watching me on my website, or if you are on Facebook, I will not see your questions until after this is over. And so I just wanted you to know that, so that if you're asking me a question and I'm not answering it live, it's only because I can't see it. But I will afterwards. So then I'm going to take my flowers that I cut out, and I'm just going to put a dimensional right on the back of this flower, and then I'm going to add in these other little pieces, and I cut these all out with designer series paper. Like I said, it was a great way to use up scraps. All right. Oh, Jenny, you made it. Good. All right, so this one here is just going to get put on to the corner of that label. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this other flower. And I'll just add a dimensional on the back. And then this one, I'm actually going to have these come down off this and attach that onto that corner. So I just get that label done. And like I said, I'm using designer series paper, and I just like how it turned out. And then I'm going to use some of these low profile dots and just add in, I think I'll do a little gold into the middle of my flowers. And because I have a whole bunch of them, I'm going to go ahead and use up some of the pink too. And I'm just going to add them on to my label, just to give it a little bling. And then this whole piece is actually just going to get added right on to the middle of my card and cover up where that adhesive was from that open weave ribbon. But just gives you an idea. Pretty simple, fun way to use that ribbon and those scraps of designer series paper that you have. Now, I didn't cut a piece of cardstock for the inside, but I would cut a piece of some kind of a neutral, and I probably would use basic beige because that's what I cut that label with on the inside, and just cut it down so that it trimmed out so that you could actually write in that card. So there's card number 1. All right, card number 2. This was a fun one. So I did cut, to make sure I'm not pulling apart the card. So these are the pieces that I've cut. 2 sets of leaves and 2 sets of copper acorns, and then the cardstock that I cut for it. But here's the, oh, I don't think I cut a label. I guess I'll be cutting a label tonight. All right, so here is the card sample. I love these colors for fall. It's just beautiful. So again, we're using Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to fold my card base in half. And then I'm going to take this piece of designer series paper that I cut. And you can see that that's where I got the leaves, was cut from this, a scrap of this paper. It would be pretty to see these leaves cut from this side of the paper too. Oh, I guess you could look on this side. Just gives you a different look. All right, and then I have this little piece of strip here. And I'm just going to go ahead and line that up on this piece of cardstock right there. And there's your card base. I love the sparkle too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this one. And this is how I normally do it. I would stamp on it before I cut it out, because then I can line up my die to the words so that everything is straight. But I thought I cut one of these out earlier today, but I don't see it here. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and ink up this stamp. Stamp it down. I did pretty good getting it fairly straight. And put the cover on that so I don't end up with black ink on everything. I used Memento ink on everything. So these are the dies And I just kind of tossed them in here after I got done cutting today. But so this one's going to get lined up on here. And I actually want to line this up so that the words are down farther on the label so that I have room up here to put my little branches and leaves and acorns. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape this down with a little Post-it tape just so that it doesn't move on me. And let me cut it out. I'll be right back. I cut on a different table only because I don't want the camera to shake. So there's my label. This one's done on basic white. And once I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm going to use a dimensional. So I kind of built right on the label on this one. So I took a dimensional and I'm going to stick it like right there. And then I went ahead and added in my leaves. Like that. And then the acorns I actually cut off because they were a little bit too long. And they just got tucked in there. And cut this one too. So that's how I did that. And then what I did is I took some of my linen thread and I'm going to end up with a big knot here. I can see that. Hi, Linda. Glad you made it. All right, so I've really got a tangled mess. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut quite a bit because I'm doubling it up. So I doubled it up like that, and then I just tied a bow. And then when I do this, I just tie a bow with the loops. I don't do any tying it together, just do the 2 loops. And then I can trim it. And then I've got just a little bit more oomph to my linen thread with that double thread. So you could actually add, you could do it as many times as you wanted. If you wanted to add more, you could fold it over 4 times. And then I'm going to go ahead and use, excuse me, glue dot. I find the glue dots stick the best with all this ribbon stuff. So there is that little label. And really, I just kind of put it together. So it doesn't have to be perfect. But again, this card is just beautiful for fall. And then once I have that done, I'm going to add that to the front of my card. And again, I can move this ribbon to how I want it to be. And so there's that. And then again, I put a piece of basic white in the side because that's what I used on this label, and just stamped a thank you. So there's card number 2 of my tutorial. So like I said, if you place an order with me, you get the tutorial for free from me as a thank you. PDF, I send it to you in an email. If your order is over $50, then you'll get a packet of supplies that will come to you. Usually like this month is August, so the supplies would come to you the 2nd week in September. And you get all the supplies to make the cards. So that's kind of fun. Oh, I was just reading Linda's comment. Well, I'm glad that you made your walk, that you got your walk in, and then you made it here. All right, so this is basic beige. And I love this paper. It's so pretty. And it's actually basic. It's like Blackberry Bliss. And to me, it looks like pecan or maybe a stamped off espresso. So I just went ahead and put some adhesive on that. I'm going to layer this onto my card base. I just think it's really pretty. And Blackberry Bliss is one of my favorite colors. When my son and his wife got married, Blackberry Bliss was one of her colors. And at the time, Blackberry Bliss had gone retired. And so I had to contact my Stampin' Up demonstrator friends and see who could send me some Blackberry Bliss cardstock, because that's the color she wanted for her invites. And so we got it, we got enough, and then we ended up, I think it ended up coming back. And just as we were, you know, actually getting ready to make stuff for the wedding. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to stamp this one down because it looks to me like it's a little crooked. I'll do a little practice run. Oh, not bad. See if I can carry that one over to here. I'm happy with it. I don't want it to be too perfect because I do want people to know that I made it, right? All right, so I cut out some of these branches with crumb cake because I liked how that looked, and I'm just going to actually add these on here, and I'm going to cut them. Again, I didn't need them to be quite that long, and I don't want them to hang off the end, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim off just a little bit, and I'm going to lay these on here. Oh wait, I better put this on first. Right? I'll put my label on. And then I'm going to just put the branches kind of where I want them. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the flowers and a dimensional to hold those branches into place. And so this is, I want you to see this one. So this was this color, but on this side, this is where I used the designer series paper and just cut it where there was a lot of color. So it just gives you a real different look to your flower dies. And I'll add that one on there too. And that's going to hold that all together. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do another. Oh, I am going to be able to. My linen thread's going to end up in a knot, I can just tell, but it's not tonight, so that's good. All right, so again, I'm going to do a double knot. So I'll pull my pieces together, make 2 strings, and then a loop, and tie it around. And then kind of adjust my loops. Cut that one and that one. And this is actually going to get stuck on there, but I'm going to tuck it up again with a glue dot. I'm just going to kind of tuck it up behind these flowers. Like that. And that just gives you a really fun card. These cards are beautiful for fall, but these would be beautiful for any time. This one. But yeah, they're gorgeous. All right. I'm already to my last card, but I'm going to show you after I'm done here. I am going to show you some of the stuff that I got in the pre-order. So this is the last card, and this is kind of a fun fold. It uses designer series paper, but you get to see both sides. So just a nice little fun fold. Here is my paper. So I'm just going to fold that. This is actually 5 by 6 scored at 2. And that's how you get your designer series paper. Okay, I saved this strip just so I could show you. See, that's where I cut out the orange from these strips. So I have all these strips left over that I'm just saving. And let me put this together. So this is Mossy Meadow. And the card base is just a 1/4 piece of cardstock. And then I put a piece of basic beige as a layer. And then this piece is going to get attached onto that. It's cut a little bit too long. Okay, I'm going to have to cut off this edge. I'll be right back. I better check my template. Maybe I didn't cut this one right. I'm just grabbing my cutter and cutting some off. Of course, I already taped it, so it's sticking to my cutter. There we go. I'm going to tell you what the measurement is. Oh yeah, it's 5 3/4. 5 3/4 by 5. And then this gets placed onto there. So it really gives you, I mean, it really packs it's beautiful. But it was so easy to do. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and grab my labels. And you'll see I have two because on this card here, I have a label inside there. And I want to show you how I lined those up. So again, I'm going to go ahead and ink up the first label. And then, let me grab the thank you stamp. And I'll ink up that one. Ooh, it's getting warm in my room. All right, so those are stamped. Now, we're going to take the one that we're going to use on the outside. So again, I'm grabbing a dimensional. I cut out those flowers. I cut out these leaves also with the scrap. So they're very little. And these leaves are going to just get tucked. I'll show you. So I'm just tucking them behind the flower, attached to the dimensional. So you just get a little bit of dimension with that. And then this is going to get attached right on the top of that. And you can do the same thing with this one. Put down a dimensional. Then I'll add my flowers, or my leaves, excuse me. Like I said, you can use a lot of scraps with these dies. All right, I'm going to lay that down that way because before I do that, I want to tie. Oh, you made it, Joan. Yay. See what I mean about, oh, there's the end. So this bow is just going to be a single bow. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a piece of the linen thread and do basically the same thing. Make a loop, tie a bow, tie it tight, kind of adjust my loops. This one actually is going to get placed on here, like under the flower. And then I'll take my flower that I've managed to put together with the dimensionals, and then it just has a little linen thread. All right. Now, when we put this one on, we want to make sure that we only get adhesive on that half that is attached to this piece of the designer series paper. So we'll do that. And then I'm just going to line it up so that I kind of have about the same border all the way around. And then this one, we're going to go ahead and put adhesive on it. We're going to line this one up onto the back of this one. So it's not attached, it's just lined up with it, and then close your card. And then when you open your card, your thank you is, that label is directly behind it. So really easy, fun cards this month. Oh, I'm going to put some of these petal pink dots in there we go. So there is card number 3. Super easy. I love how they look. And I just love that paper. So like I said, the designer series paper is on sale this month for 15% off. All of the in-color stuff is on sale for 15% off. If there's anything, if you ever have any questions or anything, don't hesitate. Just send me an email or give me a phone call. I'm more than happy to help you out and answer your questions. So everybody have a great night. Thank you, and I will speak with you soon. Bye-bye.